Rachel, last year at this time, I was in Florida. In sunny Fort Lauderdale and then sunny Sunrise for the NHL All-Star Weekend presented by Honda.
Yo, that was a good announcer voice. God damn, guys.
You don't know everything about me. I have skills that you don't know.
Does Mike need to be a midnight
The NHL All-Star Weekend presented by Honda.
I am about to hire somebody to do a new intro
I'll just
for
do it.
us, and I'm just going to get Mike to do it.
It's fine.
Can you rap? No, I'm kidding. Nobody needs
listen
to
up,
see
y'all.
Mike
No,
rapping.
and it was blazingly hot there, humid to the moon, but sun and everything. This year, fast forward, we're in Toronto, and it is cloudy. It is foggy. It is not cold enough to be cozy.
It's not even like a nice, cold but sunny winter day.
Yes,
it is just take your vitamin D pills.
Yes.
Because it sucks.
Now, I would take this weather over going back to Florida anytime. I had been to Florida. That was the second in the middle of my third time being in Florida for work in the calendar year. I'm more than happy to be in Toronto for it now.
So what Mike's saying is when I go down to Florida, we're not doing a live on location.
Absolutely not. I will do it remote from Alaska. But what I will say is last year, it was an interesting situation because, for example, Kirill Kaprizov went down, and he said, even though I'm in Fort Lauderdale, I'm in beautiful sunny skies. We are doing our media availability literally on the beach. I don't want to do anything.
Where's the media availability here?
It's in the Raptors practice court in Scotiabank Arena.
Oh, the 500 levels. Okay.
Last year. They had it literally on the beach at a Marriott resort.
Yeah, you can't do that here.
It was gorgeous. Now we have it in the Raptors practice court in the arena. And but what I find interesting is that, and the rumblings that I'm hearing, Rachel, is that players want to be here.
Yeah, they're pretty fired up.
They didn't want.
I've spoken to a couple of them.
Yeah. Like, for example, like Matt Barzal.
He is, yeah.
He was really pissed that he didn't get selected at the start.
Right.
He got in as an injury replacement, but he is fired up. Everyone is fired up to be here. And I find it very funny that like the Florida All-Star game was about as tropical and luxurious as you can possibly get. And now we're in Toronto where it is like my least favorite weather ever. And yet people are like, I'm ready to rock.
Well, so part of this is what's happening behind the scenes, which is one,
that Connor McDavid took the wheel.
Yeah. That. Two, Bieber's here. And I don't care what you had in Florida. When you get a guy like Bieber to actually show up and be present, that's gonna have some pull.
I genuinely can't even remember who the musical guest was last year in Florida. We actually didn't even stay for the game. We left. Like we only covered the.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like so Connor McDavid, and he spoke to like other guys that had kind of been involved and wanted it to be better. So he was kind of that leader taking it forward. But you got Bieber, you got Tate McRae. The parties that like they've organized, like Paris, Texas, which is like it's the biggest country bar in Toronto now, and it's like, I don't know, it's one of those things where like when you come to Toronto, people are like, oh, let's go to Paris, Texas, and it's like I've been there a few times, and I have no desire to ever go again. There are other places on King Street that I frequent more often.
Yeah,
I just think it's. The NHL is actually doing a good job of making this not like the NBA, but at least to the point where like players actually want to be here.
They're making it like a destination cool event. They're treating them really well. They treated them really well at the All-Star game last year. Like I'm telling you, I was there. It was as luxurious, tropical. It was.
They're staying at the freaking Delta too. Like that's a nice hotel.
Real nice. But you know what? Like
it's like $1,000 a night for a room.
It's
legit.
It's crazy. And I know it doesn't sound like that because it's the Delta or whatever.
No, well, to be fair, it's not a Delta. It's the Delta Chelsea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is. That's where our media workroom is, and let me tell you, it is nice. The first thing when I walked in after I got my pass, walked into the lobby, waited to meet up with some people, and like literally this concierge guy comes up. He's like, "Would you like to try a complimentary bottle of this new Michelob brewed beer?" And I'm like,
Sure.
Why not?
My friend used to live
in Rome,
in the Delta Chelsea. Like, they have condos in there.
They do?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What a lot of people don't know is that all the major hotels, pretty much, so like the Shangri-La.
I know they have. Yes, I knew they had residents in the Shangri-La.
At the Shangri-La, they have residents at the Delta West. Chelsea. They have one King West.
Yeah.
La Germain.
Yeah.
Like above
Soho, all that kind of stuff. I knew that.
They all have. I almost moved into the Soho one.
Yeah.
Bisha has residences.
I lived across from the Bisha for like 3 years, and they had residents. Yeah. Like obviously they had residents there, and they just opened the hotel. So yeah, I didn't know it was the Delta though. I always thought that was just
I want to say there's like 5 or 6 floors of condos in the Delta Chelsea. So it's a nice
place to be.
Yeah, let's just say real estate in Toronto's not cheap. That's especially not cheap.
Yes. Now what was really cool last night is we're at a media gala. Not gala, like reception. It's at Real Sports.
I was gonna say you're not wearing a black tie.
No, I was. I think I'm wearing pretty much the exact same thing I'm wearing right now. We're having a good time. You know, everyone's hanging out. Incredible spread of food, like unbelievable.
So I heard. Yeah,
like 3 different types of wings, truffle fries, regular fries, brisket, smoked ribs, 3 different types of flatbread pizza. Like it was fried, like buttermilk fried chicken. It was the tops. It was awesome. But
sushi?
No sushi.
Oh, right. That's 11.
No sushi and no Thai chili wings, which is like their staple at Real Sports, which was very upsetting. But anyway, we're all having a good time, and then I see Chris Johnston like kind of remove himself a little bit from the social circle. I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's doing. He's looking at his phone, he's texting, and he looks like he's texting. I'm like, oh, maybe he's texting a romantic partner. Maybe he's texting his dad. Who knows? Then I check my phone, and I get a tweet notification from Chris Johnston that Elias Lindholm has been traded to the Vancouver Canucks. And I go, oh, so this is what it's like to watch greatness up close, in person. And there it is. The Vancouver Canucks have acquired Elias Lindholm from the Calgary Flames in exchange for a 2024 first-round pick.
Hunter Bruschetta.
Yes, I'm so glad you found you pronounced that name before I did.
I was like, I'm gonna try and let him do that. No,
it's good. Another prospect who has
Yoni Yermo.
Yes, yeah. Yoni Yermo, which is very funny. And a conditional fourth that turns into a third if the Canucks make the Western Conference Final. This seems like one of the most win-win trades I can think of in terms of where each team currently is. Obviously, there's risk on both sides. Obviously.
No, there's almost... Well, the only risk for Calgary is that if Kuzmenko doesn't rebound. That's the only
risk is there. If Kuzmenko doesn't rebound, if... B-Dog,
well,
what's his name?
Bruschetta.
If he's kind of a flash in the pan.
Not even, because they weren't going to re-sign Lindholm, so at least you're getting assets.
Yes, but I'm saying like
whether they work out or not,
that's true.
You weren't re-signing him, so it's better. Like we talked about with Bertuzzi and Brody, it's better to get something than to get nothing.
And we differ on that opinion with the Leafs, but let's try not to make everything about the Leafs.
No, but I'm saying generally speaking, it's almost no risk for Calgary outside of Kuzmenko because
it's true.
It's better to get something.
And hey, man, if Kuzmenko works out, and we're gonna get into a deep dive in this trade in a second, but this seems like one of the more win-win trades for where two teams are in their current, sort of paths as possible. Now I know the Canucks are they can be they seem like a house of cards just due to their shooting percentage. But look, man, if you're going for it and you are you've banked enough points to the point where like you will make the playoffs, you will potentially even get first. Pretty much if they play like 500 from here on out, they'll likely get home ice advantage. Why not friggin' load up? Why not?
Jim did say that 2024 was the year he was going for it.
Yeah, I remember you said that a while ago.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised. I also like that he went on Toronto radio. Mm-hmm. So Jim has this thing where like he only does media on like his watch, but he won't do like your in-market media. Like if he's doing media, like he's on the Jeff Merrick show on Thursday. He was on Overdrive yesterday. And they asked him, because last year they traded Horvat at the All-Star break. Mm-hmm. And they asked Jim, like, if they have anything in the hopper. And Jim was like, we might not even wait till after All-Star. And, like, 3 hours later, this trade goes down. This is the second year in a row they've made a trade at All-Star. And, like, okay, so this is what I don't get, though.
What don't you get?
Like, neither Vancouver or Calgary is playing until at least Sunday. Just announce the trade after the All-Star game. No one's going to get hurt. No one's doing anything.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
No one has been hurt at the All-Star game.
But you know what? From a liability standpoint, I understand. Like, I can see why they're like, hey, he's going to play some form of hockey. Like, let's get it done. Just in case he takes
No, but I almost think there should be, like, on the NHL's part, I think it's hilarious for, like, entertainment.
There should be something of, like,
there's a trade freeze for the 3 days.
Yes.
Like,
well, it's also, like, everyone's in town in this. It's like the draft.
Well, but think about it from this perspective. Let's say that, so Vancouver and Toronto and other teams had their bye week. What if they made this trade with a team that doesn't have a bye week? Then that player doesn't get a bye week. I almost think if you have a built-in mechanism so that players get a bye week break, you should not be able to make a trade bye week All-Star. Like, that there should be something there, because a player shouldn't lose out on their potential bye week. Like, I think
because that's CBA like mandated.
Exactly. That's a CBA negotiated thing that he shouldn't lose out on.
That's the same as the Leafs getting docked for flying out like before their CBA mandated break was over, you know?
Right.
Like,
and you're going to ask a guy to actually like play games when he's supposed to be on a CBA mandated break. Now, obviously it doesn't apply in this sense, but I just think but
that could happen. Who knows?
You might be in a situation where that happens. Yeah. And I just think it's funny. I mean, I'm assuming Lindholm is probably still going to wear the Calgary logo the same way that Horvat did.
Yeah, well,
because Calgary doesn't have another rep.
Yeah, that's true. But we'll see, man. Like, it was really weird last year when Horvat got traded. Like, it was...
Well, because that was also, like, the captain of the team.
Yeah, it was very emotional. Like, you could tell.
And Petey was there, and it was highly emotional, to say the least.
It was really, you know, just seeing it. Like, it was also very awkward. Like, people were asking Horvat who he was going to represent. He's like, I don't know. Like, it was very weird. His podium...
You know how you can avoid all of that? Have a trade.
I believe his podium said Islanders, but his like jersey said Canucks. Like, it was very weird. This is going to happen again now. But the
NHL has to be pissed. Like, they're like, why?
But you know what? So I totally agree with the whole bye week thing, and honestly with the fact that like there should be a trade freeze. But this does bring like added interest to the All-Star game. Like that, like, you know,
I think it's amazing. It's awesome. I think it's so funny, like, but from a logistics perspective, it's not great.
Not only is the All-Star game in like the mecca of hockey this year in Toronto, but like
what do you mean this year? Toronto is always the mecca of hockey.
I mean the All-Star game is in Toronto this year.
Oh, I was like,
which is the mecca. There we go. But like it but also like potentially the biggest name on the trade board got traded there. Like he's going to be there. Like, it's, you know, I guarantee you it will be friggin' Mad Max Thunderdome trying to get to anywhere near his scrum today at Media Day. I might as well bring like, I don't know, like football pads so I can just lower the shoulder into a bunch of the old boomers.
I see, like, and media days and like stuff like this, they were always the time where like I went to maybe like some of the where the elbowing wasn't going on. I'll go find like somebody else to talk to, because you're more likely to actually get better content from them than asking a 4-second question in a scrum full of like 1,000 people. Like, to me, I would have zero desire to talk to like Horvat last year or Lindholm this year.
Yeah.
Just because of all the circus that's going to be surrounding. I'd rather go talk to somebody like Matthew Barzal.
No, and I will, but I'm saying like everyone will be there. Everyone will be asking these questions. And look, I think anything that drums up further excitement like that, it's a lot of fun. Now let's talk about the actual trade itself. So obviously Lindholm is the big piece that goes here, and
there's no extension in place.
Yes. So he's a penny UFA, and that's where the risk. There's two aspects.
There's a major risk there.
The two aspects of risk here for the Canucks. Number one is there's no extension in place, so they could have and they gave up a lot. Like,
so if they don't re-sign Lindholm, is that too much?
Absolutely,
I think so too.
That is a
caveat: if you win, it doesn't matter.
Yes, if you win, it doesn't matter. But like, I mean, come on.
No comment.
Yeah, my comment is, I mean, come on. But like. It is a big risk, just by the fact that like he doesn't have an extension. He could walk for free, and you gave up a first, one of your top prospects, like in Bruschetta.
Their second best defensive prospect, without a doubt. Like, obviously, Villander,
yeah, and or Lekkerimaki.
But that's a forward.
But I'm like, you didn't give up
but
either.
But Bruschetta is a right-handed defenseman.
Yes, who is third in OHL scoring.
He's also...
as a defenseman.
So he has 69 points.
Nice. We have to... Let's just take a second to acknowledge that's a nice number. Okay, continue.
So Zane Parikh, who's up for this year's NHL draft, not even drafted, is second in scoring with 66 points. The guy in third place has 51 points. Like, that's the gap between...
Holy moly.
It's like an 18-point gap between first and third place. Like, Bruschetta, and the thing about Bruschetta is he's an offensive puck-moving defenseman. Right now, he struggles to defend the rush, and
a tale as old as time.
Right.
You know?
Okay. Well, you know what? I'd rather have a guy that can create offensively.
Absolutely.
Because you know what's hard to find? Defensemen who can create offensively.
Yeah. So Hunter Bruschetta is a huge. It's a huge name to trade away. And it's a tasty name to trade away as well. But.
The first round pick,
which everyone's saying will likely be, like low 20s.
It might not be.
Who knows? Who knows? But hey, it will likely be, and that's fine. But there have been a lot of good players picked in the low 20s lately.
David Pastrnak was picked 26.
Yeah, David Pastrnak. Others that I can't hit off the top of my head, but there.
Sebastian Aho was picked in the second round.
There are a lot of first round.
Lane Hudson was picked in the second round.
There are a lot of players that get picked. Get picked below the lottery, I guess you want to call it.
And there was a point where Hunter Bruschetta was considered a better prospect, or as good a prospect as Lane Hudson and Seamus Casey.
Yeah.
So you're getting a legit prospect here, and of course, I think this is smart by the Canucks.
Absolutely.
To sell high, because you don't. Right now, this is the peak of his value, unless he continues to grow.
To sell high in Bruschetta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't know what that is. The first rounder is a lot.
Yeah, first rounder, and even I know it's a conditional fourth, but you make the Western Conference Final, that's a third. Again, that's another mid-round pick.
We're talking about it. They don't have
Hunter Bruschetta in the third round. Stuff like that. You don't really have.
You also picked the other Elias Pettersson, who they're expecting to be really good. The thing is and I mean, to say this in the easiest way, they don't have a ton of prospects because they kept trading away picks, and now you've traded away a minimum of 2 more. And this is a different situation because you're actually going for it.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't mind teams this is not a middle of the pack team right now. This is a team at the top of their division. Yes. They should be going for it.
As it looks right now, they are a contender.
Yeah, they should be going for it. So I like being aggressive. I like that kind of thing. However, if you do not re-sign him,
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Now, the thing about Lindholm, though, okay, so that's the first risk, is that you don't re-sign him. You only have him for... Now, the thing is that they got him at the All-Star break.
5 months.
So it's not like they're only going to get him for 19 games or something after the trade deadline.
No, there's 30 games left.
There's 30 games left, so they got him for almost half a year, basically. So that's good. I think there's something to be said about making this trade early, is you maximize your window with this guy.
Yes.
We all saw, and not to make it the least, but we all saw how difficult it was for all these new players to assimilate themselves into a lineup like the Leafs were last year in 13 games.
And also, cannot be understated, the impact of removing Kuzmenko from that dressing room. He is a glue dude. He's a guy everyone wants to be around.
Yeah.
He's basically a puppy dog in human form.
I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good for everybody, though, because I think it became very clear, as this season progressed and leading up to this trade, which I think is why he even waived his no trade in the first place.
He could have nixed that deal, which would have been 100%,
which would have been very, very funny. But it was clear that him and Tocchet were not going to work. He did not have a future on that team.
Yeah.
Frankly, and I know it ended up getting them Lindholm, so I think that it ended up being good. But they probably should have traded him instead of re-signing him last year. They could have.
Oh, we talked about this.
Yeah, we did. But I think it'll be a good fresh start for everyone, because as much as they love the guy, if I'm in a workplace where a guy is trying his best, but it's just clearly it's not working, it kind of becomes sad.
You mean when you're in a workplace where your boss doesn't see you for what you are and misuses you,
or
you get upset,
or see you as a human being, basically.
Yeah.
And so
that might be toxic.
Yeah, but it might be toxic to the people around you too. As much as you love that person, you go man,
think about how toxic it was last year in Vancouver when they were doing what they did to Bruce.
Yes, exactly.
Like the body language of the players.
Exactly.
So,
okay, but the second risk I was going to say is that Lindholm's shooting percentage doesn't positively regress.
Well, he's going to the PDO Kings of the league. Basically his career shooting percentage is 14%.
Yes.
He's shooting like 6 or something.
So his career shooting is 14.3. He's shooting 6.9 this year.
So he's shooting 7%.
However,
it's the Canucks. He's going to rebound aggressively. He'll probably score 20 goals in the next 50 games. Mark my words.
Who knows? Because look, the Canucks have been on a heater, and then they bring in a guy who is on the opposite of a heater. Maybe that
man,
juju,
they got Sam Lafferty to shoot above his shooting percentage.
Maybe that juju kind of works. Maybe Lindholm takes off and then everyone else stops being able to put the puck in the net. Like, you know, but those are the two risks. But as it stands right now, Lindholm is exactly what they need. He's a phenomenal second line center. He can win the draw. He's a draw winner. He's a PP1 kind of guy. You know, he just gives that lineup so much more length and depth to it.
Well, because now they can move Miller to the wing.
Yes,
right?
Which is where he belongs.
Yes. They can move Miller to the wing, and I think this trade also insulates them in the event that they realize they aren't going to be able to retain Pettersson.
Yeah.
Then you can go Miller, Lindholm, because if you're not keeping Pettersson, you have the money to re-sign.
That is still, that's a downgrade though. Like,
oh well, yeah. But what I'm saying is it's better than going from PD and Miller to PD or to Miller and no one.
Yes.
Right. So I think there's that. It also gives them one thing that like is underrated in this trade is that the Canucks cleared $5.5 million of cap for next year because Lindholm is a pending UFA and Kuzmenko had another year. So they've cleared $5.5 million for next year. They have to re-sign Hronek and they have to re-sign Pettersson. So like a lot of that could be taken up. Like I think I did the math. They have enough to sign PD to 12, Lindholm to 8, and Hronek to like 7.5. I don't think Hronek's taking 7.5. But
you think he's taking more than that?
Yeah. Wow. I think he's going to ask for more. So Lindholm's comps are in the model Vince Trocheck, Charlie Coyle, Mark Scheifele, Mika Zibanejad.
Those are all very good players. Specifically, I would say 4 out of the 3 there. Or sorry,
4 out of 3, eh?
3 out of the 4. Jesus Christ. 3 out of the 4 there are phenomenal hockey players. Charlie Coyle's a very good hockey player, but Trocheck, Scheifele, and Zibanejad
have all been all-stars. Like I think when you look at it, those are really good comparables for Lindholm. And should his shooting percentage regress, like I think 8.5 is a fair deal for him. Like that's
for Lindholm.
Yeah, I think that's right around market value.
Now, do you think? Now, you know, we talked about the Canucks side of things. Do you think that Kuzmenko can rebound in Calgary?
Yes.
Do you think what do you think? I have 2 questions, I guess. A, the one I just asked you, but I want you to start with B. What was the reason why he tanked, basically, after scoring almost 40 goals? What happened?
Well, I mean, like I wrote an article at the beginning of the year, and it was candidates for aggression, and like he was the number 1 candidate because his shooting percentage was so sky high that it just was not sustainable. And now his shooting percentage is so low that it's not sustainable. He needs to kind of like find that middle ground. I think he needs to do a better job of getting to the middle of the ice. He's more of a Huska player than he is a Tocchet player. Yeah. He's gonna get the opportunity because Huska is gonna play him with Kadri, with maybe even Huberdeau. Like he's gonna have more opportunity in Calgary because they don't have a game breaker. Whereas in Vancouver, they have Pettersson, they have Hughes, like they have game breakers. They don't need him to be a game breaker. Calgary needs him to be a game breaker, so he's naturally going to be in a position to do that, and so he's gonna get time on the power play. I don't think he's gonna be playing below the second line. He definitely shouldn't be. Maybe he's somebody that reignites Huberdeau. Like I think there is a chance that he rebounds. Do I think he's going to score 40 goals? No, but basically what I said in my article in September was I think he's a 25 goal guy. And that would be great for Calgary because if he is a 25 goal guy next year, they can flip him again at the deadline.
Yes. And look, 5.5 for a 25 goal guy, it's not terrible.
No, that's quite manageable,
that's basically market value.
That's with what it is. And like Lindholm's got 32 points in 49 games. Yeah. But a lot of that is his shooting percentage, which I now expect will regress positively because basically everything that Vancouver touches on the ice this year has turned to gold.
And this has no data, but I just have a feeling that like everything you touch turns to gold, and you're on this heater. And I feel like this is the right move they should have made, but I feel like that this is like the step of hubris that like brings the house of cards down. I don't know, but anyway,
like Kuzmenko's having a tough year, right? His comps this year are
rough. His comps are tough.
I mean, last year they were up with like Nylander and whatever, and like this year his comps are Logan O'Connor, Luke Evangelista, Taylor Radish, and Alexander Holtz. And I think Holtz is actually a pretty good comparison for him because Lindy Ruff basically refuses to play Alex Holtz, and yet he still does his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Holtz played more, if Kuzmenko played more, like if they had coaches that believed in them, then they would be in a much better spot. So I think this has the potential to be a win-win for both teams.
Amazing.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm not going to get into the semantics of whatever. All I'm going to say is this is not the first time Vancouver has tried to get Lindholm.
Mm-hmm.
This has been somebody
this is a player they've coveted.
Very similar to Gensel.
Yeah.
This is a player they've coveted for a while.
So that essentially takes them out of the Gensel sweepstakes.
I don't think it does.
You think that they're willing to trade? Because the only way they can do that now is by trading their top prospects.
They can trade Besser back.
Why would they do that this year?
The Canucks?
Why would they trade
Because they
Besser
want
this
Gensel.
year? I know they want Gensel, but Brock Besser, yes, he's shooting like crazy, but Brock Besser is
exactly. They're going to try and sell high on him.
Among the league leaders in goals, and if you're going for it, I'm
just going to tell you the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Besser.
That would be dumb this year.
I'm not disagreeing.
Like,
but I'm saying I don't think it takes them out of the Gensel. First of all, there's not even a Gensel sweepstakes right now because the Penguins haven't decided that they're trading him.
No. So. What the Penguins might do with a core of 36-year-olds is that they might spend the next 2-3 years regrouping and then go for it when everyone is nice and healthy at age 40. I think that's what they're, and you know what? I think that's another Dubas success. I think that's perfect.
See, I think it might behoove them to trade Gensel because if you can get two young players that can go in your lineup, like not that this would happen, but if a Jake Gensel could get you Wyatt Johnson and Thomas Harley, you make that trade.
That would definitely not happen.
No, but I'm saying
I know what
two
you're
young
talking
players.
About.
Yes, they can get you two young players that are going to step into your lineup right away. So, like, if you're doing Vancouver, if it gets you Höglander and Garland, maybe, but then you get like a prospect that's like almost ready. So, like, if it gets you Höglander and maybe it gets you Wilander, then it's like, okay, like we can work with that kind of thing. But I don't think they're going to be out on Gensel. I think if Gensel's available, they're going to be at the front of the line.
If I was a Stars fan just tuning in when you said that, I would have killed myself. Be like,
that would be a bad trade for Dallas.
That is a hypothetical. But if I was a Stars fan being like, oh, let me just go to a random spot in the podcast and be like, well, I could see Gensel for Harley and Wyatt Johnson, I would jump off a building. That would be the worst.
It was honestly the only reason why they're on my mind is because Thomas Harley is having a breakout year.
Unbelievable.
And we talked about Wyatt Johnson on Monday. That's the only reason they came to mind. They're not being traded for Jake Gensel.
As Stars fans are sure, but I remember I heard that and I was like, whoa, crazy. All right, Rachel.
Right, but like if you could trade Jake Gensel for Matthew Nyes and
no.
Nick Robertson. But I'm saying two young players that could step in your lineup right away and are under contract, control, are going to be cheap. That's what Pittsburgh should be doing if they don't think they can re-sign Gensel. But that's our breakdown.
That is our breakdown of the trade.
Let's do our midseason awards.
So it's basically like, it's a little over midseason, obviously. We're at about game 47.
All-Star break's midseason as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we'll just consider it like that. It's our midseason awards. Now, Rachel and I, we put our heads together, or actually, no, we went away from each other and we put our heads down and came up with our individual list.
I was going to say, you don't even know who mine are.
I don't. Unfortunately, you know who mine are, although I might have switched some around.
I was going to say, I don't even remember. I didn't clock that.
So we're going to do the Hart, the Norris, the Vezina, the Calder, and the Jack Adams. Rachel, why don't we start with the Jack? Let's go bottom to top here.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's in, the descending order. So let's go Jack Adams. Who is your Jack Adams pick this year?
Torts.
Mm-hmm.
Torts is my pick. I think when you look at it at the beginning of the year, me, you, and Lazarus, who did the Metro Division preview, all had Philly either 7th or 8th, basically with Columbus. We were like, which team is going to be worse? Philly's 2nd in their division.
Yeah.
It is much harder to go from Celebrini sweepstakes to divisional playoff spot than it is to go from divisional playoff spot to top of the conference or like barely miss the playoffs to making the playoffs. To me, what Torts is doing, especially with everything that's going around Philly with new GMs, Cutter Gauthier, Sean Couturier's injuries now coming back, like the switch over in leadership, obviously the Ivan Provorov turnover, for him to take Philly where they were last year and this year, and they're actually like their underlying numbers are good. This is not a house of cards.
Yeah.
I think is such an impressive coaching job that it just can't be overlooked.
Now, I think that's a phenomenal pick. I initially picked Rick Bowness because I did not expect the Winnipeg Jets to really do anything this year. I obviously expected the Philadelphia Flyers to do even less, but
I was going to say, we all did.
But I didn't expect the Winnipeg Jets to do anything this year. I thought that they barely added anyone. Like they added Velarde and Iafallo and Kupari and all that.
We didn't expect that trade to go the way it did.
Yes, we definitely didn't expect that. And also, I thought this was going to be more of even just like a sort of like a reboot year. They re-signed Scheifele and Connor, or Scheifele and Hellebuck, which made it sort of seem like they were playing it safe in my eyes. And it just kind of seemed like they were going to reboot and be like playoff bubble. And instead, they're playing phenomenal hockey. They love their coach. They would die for their coach. They are doing an incredible job. And yet, ever since I made that pick, I've just looked at how Philly has played, and B, how Torts has galvanized that team in light of their top prospect just saying "see ya" for no reason, or for reasons that he hasn't divulged. Which is, look, coaching is just as much X's and O's as it is managing people,
if not more.
If not more, you can have a phenomenal. We've seen countless times phenomenal tacticians crumble because they cannot manage people. John Tortorella. He could have been another Mike Babcock. He could have refused to adapt. He could have refused to change his ways and to sort of step into the next generation and step into the next sort of generation of people managing. Because,
right. Things have changed.
We are, both you and I, you're 28 now, but I'm 27. I'll be 28 in, a couple weeks or whatever. But like
I'm the elder statesman.
Yes, you are. But we both know that, like, we don't react to screaming anymore. Like when it comes to a motivational tactic.
Yeah, no.
We don't react.
I dealt enough with that as a child, yeah.
And so, same here. And so, John Tortorella is one of the most notorious screamers there is. And we haven't heard any of that. He has done an unbelievable job of basically keeping the spirit of his coaching style, which is like the gruff, no nonsense, all that. But
accountable,
but with a fierce defense of his players, and with I guess he must have done research or talked to people or whatever, with the ability to communicate that I honestly did not know that he had. And so I had to change my I want to be different from you, but I had to change my pick from Rick Bowness to John Tortorella because we thought the Flyers were going to be like Celebrini bound. They were horrible. They had like nobody.
Their penalty kill is excellent.
Yes.
Brad Shaw.
And they out of nowhere, Tortorella, and especially after the season last year where it looked like Tortorella was losing that room potentially, he came in and he pulled a complete 180 and boom,
he's got the room.
I think he's gunning for a 3rd Jack Adams Award. It's going to be amazing. All right, Calder. Now this one is this was a little trickier because the guy who we think should kind of be running away with it. He's missed a couple games. He will likely miss a couple more games.
Couple of few, yep.
What? So who's your pick for the Calder?
It's still Bedard.
Yes.
But so this is a 2-horse race in my opinion. Like maybe a 3rd, but this is a 2-horse race.
Who's the 2 horses?
Bedard and Faber. Brock Faber was in the Norris conversation at the beginning of the year for what he's doing. It is so hard to be a defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he has a couple of college years under his belt, so he's not a true, like, Connor Bedard can't drink in Ontario.
Yes.
Like, this is the level of young we're talking about.
I doubt Connor Bedard has ever drank, but he can't drink in Ontario, yes.
And Brock Faber, I believe, is 21. And so, but that shouldn't take away from the fact that the year Brock is having is absolutely incredible. Like, his on-ice impacts, power play, penalty kill. He's on the number 1 pairing with Brodin. Like, he looks incredible. And he is one of the only reasons Minnesota's been able to tread water this year. And so I think he deserves his flowers. And if Bedard is out for much longer, or let's say Bedard comes back and is only a half a point a game, like, he's not impressive, like, then I think it's Faber's. Like, I have a bet at plus 5,000 on this because he's just incredible. Like, he's been absolutely incredible, and I can see the defenseman holding some weight. Having said that, is Bedard your pick too?
No.
Okay, so, like, Bedard, I mean, we're talking about the best rookie, not the best rookie season.
Best rookie.
Best rookie. He is, when he is healthy and playing, he is a top 10 player in the league already. So he's
with no surrounding help. With nothing.
So if he's already a top 10 player, that makes him the best rookie. Like, he's so clearly the best player in that rookie class that it's not even funny. And so I think if he comes back and he is doing his thing, it's just going to put kind of that staple of, like, yep, that's the guy. Because he is, there are things that he can do that veteran NHL players are like, whoa. Like, that's crazy. He made Gretzky's jaw drop.
Yeah.
To me, you're the most impressive rookie. If you can make Wayne's jaw drop, you're an impressive rookie.
Yeah, look, I think Connor Bedard is going to be he's going to be in that McDavid tier of, like, challenging Gretzky for the best player of all time. However, and if he didn't get hurt, he would definitely be my pick.
Yeah.
But I can't go against Brock Faber here. It is like, being a defenseman, specifically like a number 1 defenseman, is, like, the hardest job in hockey, really. It like, obviously being a goaltender is extremely difficult, but we've seen goalies go on heaters like crazy. Andrew Hammond won the last, like, 30 straight games of a season for the Ottawa Senators.
Steve Mason in his Calder year.
Steve Mason went crazy. You know, we could go on, like, friggin' Michael
Bobrovsky.
Yeah, Bobrovsky. Friggin' John Sebastian Aubin went crazy one year, at the end of to try and drag the Leafs in the playoffs. It happens. Brock Faber, 2 years ago, was a fan on the glass celebrating when Kirill Kaprizov scored an OT winner in the playoffs, and now he is that team's number 1 defenseman. It was not supposed to be this way. The Minnesota Wild were supposed to have very good defensemen this year, or at least a very competent top 6. They were supposed to at least try and go for it. Brock Faber was supposed to be, maybe the 6th, come in as the 7th. It was supposed to be a learning year. Instead, everyone got hurt or everyone started to suck, and he became basically the number 1 defenseman, and he has done an unbelievable. He's stepped into that role flawlessly. That is the equivalent of, I don't know, like being dropped into NASA and perfectly commanding a spacecraft to land on the moon. Like, it is pretty much the hardest job you can do. He has obviously more surrounding talent around him than Bedard does by a mile.
Well, because Bedard is the talent.
Yes.
This is a one-man show.
But Faber has been in a season that has been just as topsy-turvy as you can possibly think. And that's also the case for the Blackhawks. I mean, there's been a lot of weird stuff that's going on there too. But in the season that has been very topsy-turvy for the Wild, everyone getting hurt, big losing streaks. Their GM got internally investigated, for a toxic workplace, stuff like that. They're a bunch of guys quit, and he goes, what? And he, at the same time, he's just doing his thing. I think that Brock Faber has done a phenomenal job. He's my pick for the Calder right now. But that is also pending on if Bedard comes back from injury and just continues scoring at the pace he was before.
So Bedard has 33 points in 39 games. Let's say he misses 20 games, 25 games.
That's too many to win the...
But what if he comes back? Okay. He comes back with 25 games remaining. Let's say.
And he scores 25 points?
And what if he scores 20 goals in 25 games? That would give him 35 goals.
How many games would he play in total?
if he missed
if he missed 20 games.
If he missed 20 games,
he would play 61, right?
He'd play 62, yeah.
62, yeah.
Yeah. So even if he missed 25, he'd play 58. If you are
But that's under I like to view it in the NBA has that new rule where you have to play in 65 games to be eligible for awards. And I think that's good, and I think that should be applied to hockey.
But it's not.
No, I know. But if
Bedard comes back and scores 20 goals,
I thought this was my opinion.
And he finishes the season with 35 goals as a rookie.
I thought this was my opinion.
No, I'm asking, like, what would it take?
Oh, it would take something like that.
Right.
I think, well...
Like, if he finishes the season with 35 goals and he only plays, like, 50-odd games, that's...
Oh, absolutely. Then it's tough. It's tough to... It's a lot like the McDavid versus Panarin.
That was so dumb because Panarin was
like 38 years old. But, like, but McDavid only played, like, 50 games that year, like 40 or something, because he got hurt.
Yeah. But I think if Bedard is a point a game when he comes back...
If Bedard comes back and he scores at a point per game pace, like if Bedard comes back and he ends up playing the last like 25 games of the year and he scores 25 points and like even 10 to 15 of those are goals, I think he'll end up taking it. But right now, Brock Faber jumped in out of nowhere on a veteran team, commandeered it as their number one defenseman. He's got my vote right now. All right, the Vezina.
My bank account would love if he won.
Yeah, it would. The Vezina. Goaltender. Who is your pick, Rachel?
Connor Hellebuyck. This is silliness what he's doing. Mm-hmm. It's utterly ridiculous what Connor Hellebuyck has been able to do. And it's like so silly that Josh Morrissey's in the Norris conversation because of his like goals against and his on ice impacts, but a lot of that's actually being masked by Connor Hellebuyck. And like, I mean, it's pretty hard to argue a guy who is playing on a team that doesn't have the elite talent that some of the other teams do, and yet is still a top team in their division because their goaltending has just been so good. Like, he's got to have, what, a 930?
Something like that.
I'm looking it up. It's actually ridiculous. So Connor Hellebuyck is my pick. I think there's a conversation probably we can revisit at the end of the season to have about Thatcher Demko.
Funnily enough, he's not number one in save percentage. He's got 924. You know who
that's very good.
You know who has the highest save percentage? And it's
Aiden Hill.
Yes, and he hasn't played as many games, but he's a 936 save percentage.
Yeah, he's played like 15 games.
Yeah.
So he's not in the conversation because you haven't played enough.
He's not my pick.
And Hellebuck's goals saved above expected is ridiculous.
He leads in goalie point share and goal save above expected. Yeah. So there you go.
The guys should be in the conversation for the Hart Trophy.
Yes.
With what he's doing. So yeah, to me it's Connor Hellebuyck. There's a conversation maybe to be had about Thatcher Demko, but that's my pick. It's Connor Hellebuyck. I'm obviously not going to pick the Vancouver guy because it's going to look like I'm simping for Clarkey.
Okay. Well, hey.
But it wouldn't be surprised if Clarkey has another Vezina winner to his name.
First of all, the list of goalie point shares this season is absolutely insane. Do you want me to read you the names of the top 10?
Can I guess?
Okay. Number one's Connor Hellebuyck. Number 2 is Thatcher Demko.
Okay.
Guess number... Oh, you could probably guess number 3.
Jacob Markstrom.
No.
Jeremy Swayman.
No.
UC Saros.
No. UC Saros is having a bad year. He's on this list, but I have in fantasy.
I was going to say, he has like a 9-10 this year. It's like weird.
I have in fantasy. It's not great. It's not going great.
It's not good?
Yeah.
I have Auntie Ranta, so...
Yeah,
it's less good
either. Yeah.
I'm trying to think
of good goalie, middling team.
Good goalie on a middling team.
He doesn't quite have Stanley Cup rings plugging his ear yet. But his coach does.
But it's Sorokin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4. You will not guess number 4. No, try number 4. You will not guess it. But I want you to
it's
try.
not Swayman or Markstrom?
No.
Is it Stuart Skinner?
No.
I was gonna say because that would be wild.
If you guess this, I will be flabbergasted.
It's not Bobrovsky.
Nope.
It's not Jari.
Nope.
Okay, what conference is it?
Western
Conference?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not Ottinger.
Nope.
Is it Connor Ingram?
Nope.
Oh, I don't know then.
Joey Decord.
Yeah, that's not real.
Joey Decord has a 7.4 point share right now.
Yeah, how many games does he play?
Probably like 3. But still. But he's up there. You will not guess number 5 either.
Okay,
we'll
I'm
do this
done
quick.
with this guessing game.
Peter Mrazek is number 5.
I don't buy
6
this.
Point,
this
or
fake.
6.7.
This is fake.
Then it's Connor Ingram. 6.
Okay, so I was close.
6.6. Then it's Jordan Binnington at 6.5. Then UC Saros. Then Bobrovsky. Then Jeremy Swayman. Then Jeremy Swayman. Yes. The number 4 is Joey Decord. Number 5 is Peter Mrazek. Number 6 is Connor Ingram.
I'm beginning to think this stat might not be indicative of who's good.
Well, it's on Hockey Reference. So there you go.
Oh, I thought you were using the money puck one. I was going to say.
Goalie point shares. Connor Hellebuyck, number 1. He's at 8. Thatcher Demko is at 7.9. And then it just goes like the drop off between Joey Decord is a 7.4, but then the next one is Peter Mrazek at 6.7, and it goes down from there. But that is nuts. That's crazy. It just goes to show how much of a crapshoot goaltending is. However, Thatcher Demko, I know that Connor Hellebuyck's doing all this other stuff. Thatcher Demko is my pick.
Well, the Canucks would probably be in the lottery.
Yes.
Without Thatcher Demko.
I think that based on how each team is constructed, I think you put in Laurent Brossoit, and I think that the Jets obviously don't make the playoffs, but they stick around for a bit. I think you put in Casey DeSmith instead of Thatcher Demko. It's a much different story.
I think Ian Clark goes gray a lot quicker.
Yeah, I think Thatcher Demko is top notch. He is my pick. I think it's his time to get rewarded as one of the elite goalies in the league. He's playing a massive. Like, there's a reason the Canucks have the highest PDO. What's half of PDO? It's save percentage.
It's Thatcher. Yeah, it's Thatcher Demko.
He is propping that team up a lot, and Thatcher Demko is my Vezina pick. All right, Rachel. Let's move to the next award. It's the Norris. Who is your pick for the Norris?
I mean, I think we're probably both on this one, right? It's Quinn Hughes.
I had Cale Makar.
Okay, so I don't feel like getting abused by Vancouver fan base. That happens to me enough. So I'm going to just go with Quinn Hughes. To go with Quinn Hughes. I think that he's taken huge steps. Obviously, with the whole scoring situation. Obviously, him having a better partner has been quite helpful. But the year he's having is too difficult to ignore. He's likely going to finish the year with 20 goals. 20 goals for anyone is an accomplishment. 20 goals for a defenseman is
nuts.
Is absolutely incredible, and just his impact on the ice is out of control right now. Like, it's crazy. And so I'm gonna go with Quinn Hughes, but I think it's a 2-horse race with him and Makar. And to me, this is a scenario where it's not like locked and loaded in the same way like some other awards might be, but he's my front runner right now. And then I have Makar.
So we're talking about Quinn Hughes. We're talking about Sam Reinhart having like one of the best contract year of all time. Basically, he's going crazy.
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes is tied with him in points. Quinn Hughes is a defenseman.
Yeah. He's having just an incredible season.
Unbelievable. I'm picking Cale Makar because he's friggin' Cale Makar, man. Like, he is just doing everything. Cale. He is even. It's like he gets better every year, and he does. I just think he does. I think he does everything Quinn Hughes does. I think maybe a little bit better, And I
agreed.
And so I gotta, he's missed time. He's been banged up.
That's the only reason he's not my Norris front runner.
He's still only 4 points behind Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
So I think it's Cale Makar for me. But you know what? What I love is that these two, and there was a little bit of a lull, but now these two, since their first year when they were battling for
the Calder,
in the Calder, they will be forever. They will be the defenseman version of Crosby and Ovechkin, and I think that's great for the sport. I think that's great.
I don't disagree there. I think the race is a lot closer than people are making it out to be. Like, Quinn Hughes, I think, is like -200 to win the Norris, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can get Cale Makar at plus money.
Yeah,
I'll take that. Especially because I got Hughes at plus 900 in the fourth game of the year. So
there you go. All right, Rachel, our final. It's the Hart. Who is your pick for the Hart?
It depends.
That's not an answer.
Okay. If he scores 70, it's Matthews.
No, you don't get to say that. You get to right now. It's
McKinnon.
Okay.
It's hardcore. It's McKinnon.
Okay.
I am so tired of discussing the Kucherov thing. Like, Kucherov's had he's had a bunch of 3-point games, and he's lost ground on McKinnon by 5 points in the last 17 games. Because McKinnon is averaging 2 points a game. He's literally averaging 2 points a game. This is ridiculous. This is without Landeskog. It's without Nichushkin. Yes, he has Rantanen and Makar, but, like, oh my God. What are we doing? Like, he is doing what McDavid was doing last year. This is insanity. And the thing is like, you watch him, he's dominant on the ice. Even if he's not scoring, he's on the cycle, on the back check, on the forecheck. He's impacting how teams are defending. Like, teams, you can tell, are scheming to defend against him, and he's still scoring 2 points a game. This is absolutely insane what he's doing. And without him, the top line center for the Colorado Avalanche would be Logan O'Connor. So you remove Nathan McKinnon off of, not only is he outside of McDavid, probably the best player in the league this year. If you removed him from Colorado, they'd be in major trouble. Like, major trouble. So I'm not having this conversation about Kucherov because he's got Braden Point, Steven Stamkos, and Victor Hedman, and Andrei Vasilevsky. Like, there's so much more around him. He's also a winger, and if you took Kucherov out of the lineup, Tampa would still be fine.
They did it for an entire year, and they still made the playoffs.
If you take McKinnon out of the Colorado lineup right now, Logan O'Connor is their top line center. That's not going to cut it.
That's tough.
That's what a lottery team looks like.
My heart pick is Austin Matthews.
I'm glad one of us went that direction.
Now, I will freely admit my my bias in that I watch infinitesimally more Toronto Maple Leafs games than I do Colorado.
Is that
Avalanche
a word?
Games. Infinitesimally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Infinitely?
Infinitesimally. Or infinitesimally? Infinitesimally. Yeah. It's a word.
God damn. I did not know that.
Yeah. And so I watch far more Toronto Maple Leafs games than I do Colorado Avalanche games. I get that. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in a playoff spot right now. You know, they
probably don't deserve to be.
And that's the whole point. There have been legitimately over half the games in the Toronto Maple Leafs season have been putrid efforts where the entire team looks slow, where, you know, Marner is gobbling up empty calorie points, where the coach is making ridiculous decisions, where the goalie can't make a save, and
they look flat.
And Austin Matthews comes out. They look slow. They look flat. They look listless. And Austin Matthews comes in, and he's every single time they have needed him to score a goal in a high leverage situation, he has done it this year. He has 4 hat tricks this season alone.
That's so,
which is insane,
ridiculous.
I'm sure if I know that on paper you take Matthews out, you still have, you know, Tavares, Nylander, Marner, and all that.
Tavares is not performing this year, so
you take Matthews off the Leafs right now. We're talking about Celebrini. Like it is that.
No, I don't think we're that. I think
it's okay. Then we are at least talking about a team that is in
Montreal territory.
Yes. So we're talking about like 6th overall, 7th overall, a disaster.
Yeah.
Austin Matthews on pretty much every night has saved the Leafs this season. He is phenomenal. He is phenomenal two-way. He has the best shot in the league. He is money in the bank when it comes to clutch moments. When it comes, and I know clutch is a pejorative term, I get that, but every single time,
he's a boogeyman.
I cannot stress enough, Rachel, and I know I'm more just saying this to the audience, but like every single time the Leafs have needed him to score a goal this year, you're down late, you know, the team needs a spark, you go down, you give up every time Samsonov has given up a fluke. I think of the Columbus game, you know, Samsonov gives up like 6 goals on 20 shots. The reason why they made it to overtime is because Austin Matthews kept going back the other way and scoring or setting something up. I also value goals above anything else. And Matthews has 40 before the fucking All-Star break, which is crazy.
Yeah,
it is a very tight race. And Nathan McKinnon is one of the most impressive hockey players I've ever watched in person. I got to cover him on the Cup final run. And that was a pleasure and a privilege for me to do. But this season, Auston Matthews is after he became the highest paid player in the league. He did exactly what you want a player like that to do, and has quite literally taken the team on his back and carried them into a playoff spot.
What's crazy is, like, we had a Hart conversation, and it's like, I think it's very clearly a 3-horse race at this point.
Yes.
McDavid, Matthews, McKinnon.
Mm-hmm.
But could we part some time and discuss the season Sidney Crosby's having as a 36-year-old? If Pittsburgh is barely in the playoffs, they are fully in Celebrini discussions without the year Sid's having.
The Pittsburgh,
it's actually ridiculous the year he's having. He's in my top 5.
The Pittsburgh Penguins should be thrown in prison for what they're doing to Sidney Crosby this year. It is unbelievable.
Literally jail.
He is, and this is why it is so. The reports of they might take the next 2 years or 3 years to sort of restock their treasure chest.
You're not allowed.
I know that. Look, I think we took Ovechkin being ageless for granted because of just the wall that he has hit this year. Sidney Crosby's doing incredible, but it's no guarantee that he's going to be this incredible, until he's 40 years old. You take advantage of the fact that one of the best players who has ever stepped foot on an ice surface is having this kind of season at age 36.
He has 50 points.
Yeah.
In 46 games. He has 27 goals. This guy's almost got 30 goals.
I always remember
in January. What?
I always remember Sidney Crosby had his rookie season and it was great, but the biggest knock on him was 1, faceoffs, and 2, his shot. And he went into the offseason, he emerged and he scored 50 goals and led the league in faceoff percentage the next year. I
love it.
That was the biggest criticism was, Crosby was good, but he loses the Calder to Ovechkin, and they go, but is he too much of a pure playmaker? His shot's terrible and he can't win faceoffs.
Rocket.
Next year, 51 goals, or I think it might even be more, but over 50 goals.
And he won the Rocket.
He won the Rocket, and he led the league in faceoff percentage, I'm pretty sure. That's the kind of player he is.
That is 36 years old, and he's still over a point a game.
It's unbelievable.
How bad Pittsburgh has been, generally speaking.
Yes.
He's plus 19.
That's incredible. So yeah, good for Sidney Crosby.
If he scores 25 more goals, which is conceivable, he's gonna hit 600. He'll have 600. He has 577 career goals right now, and it's conceivable he scores 23 more to hit 50 on the year. If he scores 50 this season, he'll hit 600 for his career.
And
600.
It's just insane. So salute to Sidney Crosby.
He's 25 assists from 1,000. We're talking about he's 23 goals from 600 and 25 assists from 1,000. There's a chance he hits both. This year.
That's insane. Before we go as well, there's someone we didn't talk about him in the Norris race, but he's someone who should be on the periphery of it. Is Gustav Forsling.
Yes,
he has been really unbelievable this year.
I also think Adam Fox coming back from injury and having the type of year that he's continuing to have.
Yeah.
He's not going to be he might find his way on my ballot just because he's been incredible. But yeah, I think Gus Forsling for sure. That guy's made me so much money this year. God bless you, Gustav.
Unbelievable.
Over 1.5 shots. Over 1.5 shots. Just every single time. It's my favorite bet right now. Just automatic. No, you're right. I mean, I think it's probably a 2-horse race with the Norris, but he deserves a shout. He's going to be on a lot of ballots.
He should be.
I think my Hart Trophy ballot is some iteration of McKinnon, Matthews, McDavid, Kucherov, Hellebuyck, probably.
Unreal. All right, Rachel, we've reached the end of the show. We are going to be boots on the ground at All-Star. I'll be obviously behind the scenes and whatnot. And Rachel will be there capturing the fan experience as well, and we'll also be behind the scenes on an interesting thing with a big player. We're gonna have amazing content coming from that, so definitely stay tuned. Subscribe to the podcatcher, any podcatcher you have out there. Subscribe there on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We're all there. We got a lot of great content coming. And make sure to donate to Jumpstart, our charity of choice. It helps economically disadvantaged children play team sports, which is a cause that is extremely close to Rachel and I.
Yep.
And so all the links will be in the description, but if you can, we encourage you to donate there. And yeah, we will see you after All-Star. We will have amazing content, and we hope you have fun.